students are tuned out. You don't get to pause to check, to embed it with activity and then continue. So we're asking you, as you continue your lesson and develop those lessons, have pause time, literally time that section and put an activity in to ensure that students are engaged in what you've just presented. And you can chunk it into different segments as you present to your students. So Ms. Bice is going to come on and she's going to continue. As I said, I won't be long. If there are any questions on what I just mentioned earlier, put it in the chat and I'll respond through to those questions that you have about making sure that students have understood what you just presented and that your lesson, your focus lesson is a chunk in such a way that you are not doing all the talking, but you are embedding those activities, those pause time to make sure that students have something to do to engage with what you just presented. All right, thank you, Ms. Bice. We'll take over now with the Nearpod and other instructional activities.
Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention to you guys, we do have, if you, back to the September 4 PD thing, there is a questions section, so you can click on that and it should open a Padlet where you can ask us any questions and stuff that we can go over at the end. So if it's not related specifically to what we're talking about at that time, you can always ask questions in that chat and we can always go back to them at the end just for time's sake to make this flow a little quicker. And I think the biggest thing that we need to keep in mind is that this is new for everybody, and you have to think, y'all don't want to hear somebody sit there and talk for 20 minutes straight about World War II. You're going to zone out. You're not going to pay attention. And so it's how do you quickly add some information or add some engagement with those students to make sure that they're staying on track and staying on point. So one thing you can use is Nearpod. So in the chat, I put the Nearpod code. Some people have already joined, but you are gonna, if you could go to join.nearpod.com and put in this code and then put your name, so that we can do this. We're just gonna kind of model how you can use Nearpod in your classroom. And you don't have to use Nearpod. It's just an option that kind of makes it a little bit easier. If you already have a PowerPoint, you can just copy that PowerPoint over and quickly make it into a Nearpod presentation. We're not going to go over how to create a Nearpod today. We've already done that before and we'll have more trainings in the future. But the biggest takeaway for today is hopefully finding ways to better engage our students. And it's also just going to take creating that culture for our kids of how to do school online. And so it's being persistent as a teacher and not giving up. So when I call on Banks and he doesn't respond, okay, I guess Banks isn't here. So I'm going to go on to Rashid. Well, Rashid told me that she wasn't paying attention at all. So I'm going to let Rashid know, hey, Rashid, I'm coming back to you. So be ready and be paying attention. So I can go to Granberry and say, Granberry, what's the answer? She gives me the answer. And then later on in that lesson, I'll go back to Rashid and make sure that she, you know, has begun paying attention. So it's just being persistent with our kids and it's giving them opportunities to talk and do something. Because I know for myself, my ADD and ADHD is real bad. So if somebody's just talking to me for 10 or 15 minutes straight, I'm not going to get anything out of the lesson. So just keep that in mind and think, kind of put yourself in your students' shoes as you guys are doing this. So if you're not in, again, it's in the chat. We're going to keep moving for time's sake. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to do in this Padlet. And so all you're going to do is share a nickname and the story behind it. After you do that, you're going to then read 4 other posts and respond to it. So right here, we're going to share thoughts and or images here. Share a nickname that you have and the story behind it, why people call you that nickname or why you gave yourself that nickname. And then read 4 other people's posts and respond to those posts. And I'll do it too. And with this Padlet embedded in a Nearpod, you can't comment, but you can like. And if you want to comment about somebody's nickname, you can put that in the actual chat for Teams. I'm going to pull up the chat so I can keep an eye on it. So Miss Rashid, Best, and I have all put our nicknames and where those nicknames came from. Again, like them, post in the comment, if you like it, if you think it's funny, any comment that you have on those nicknames. Banks said he's Hulk and Doug. Banks, can you type why you were called those or where those came from or the meaning behind them? So we're just going to give a couple more minutes for people to do this. You might have to hit refresh in order to see more nicknames. Okay, another 30 seconds. Austin, that is funny. Granberry, I like how you made it positive. Cool. Does anybody want to share about something that they really liked or feeling towards somebody else's nickname and why it's their nickname? I'm gonna start cold calling. So if you don't do it, I'm gonna call you. Who's in here? Okay, April.
Yay, can you hear me, Vice?
If you will turn your mic on and tell us who.
Can you hear
what's
me?
your favorite nickname and why? Or favorite reason or whatever.
Vice, can you hear me?
Chief, are you there?
I'm here. Somebody else was trying to speak.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, my thing is muted. My bad. Go ahead.
Okay. Vice Lambert, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so when the Nearpod is saying that Paige is waiting for teacher input, is that you that it's waiting for to comment on what we put in there?
No, I can't comment on anything.
Well, it keeps saying it's waiting for input from teacher. What does that mean? I'm new to Nearpod. Can somebody explain that?
I don't know. I've never had that issue before. Do you see it now?
It was doing that for me. Just keep refreshing the page. And eventually,
No. It's not a problem. It's actually, I think it's actually saying that, letting the students know that the teacher, there's a place for the teacher to respond.
Oh no, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take a screenshot next time it happens.
Yeah. Let me see what you're seeing so I can figure that out.
Okay.
Anybody want to share about their anything that they like or they thought was interesting?
You were asking me something.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, what are your thoughts? What do you like?
As far as what people posted?
Yes, ma'am.
I like Miss Rashid's because it was given to her by her fiance, and it's an affectionate nickname, so that's sweet.
It is sweet. Bunkley, anything that caught your eye? Anything that you liked?
Yeah, it was sorry, I lost the page. Someone put in there about their nightmare about their mother. I can't see who did that one.
That was Austin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like that one because it reminds me of when I was a kid and I was having nightmares and stuff. So
Yeah,
that was cute.
if I'm to respond to you, my mom, when she told me, so all my siblings call me Mimi. And when I asked where did that come from, she told me the story of a nightmare with that name. The name literally haunted her, and she gave it to me. And I'm like, okay. So yeah.
That's so cute.
Hey, Bites.
Yes, sir.
I didn't get in there, but you asked me about my two nicknames.
Yeah, I see them in the chat.
Okay, I said Hulk back in the day when I was really working out and everything. My fraternity, everybody named me the Hulk. And my Doug is my short for my middle name, Douglas.
That's cute. Mr. Amuzu? This will be the last one. What's up, Mr. Amuzu?
Yes, I like Miss Photoshop. I
Yeah,
mean,
that one was cute.
usually when students give you a nickname like that, it just means you are awesome doing what you're doing.
Right. Love it. Okay, so now next chat is how might this activity relate to building relationships with your students? How do you see this helping you build relationships with your students? So if y'all would answer in the mirror pod, please. And then as you put something in, go back and read what others have put. We're not going to discuss this one at the end. So if you'll just go through and read what people have put as they do it. I like that, Bunkley. And there's no right or wrong answer. We'll do one more minute. Let me start using my timer. Okay, one more minute to post. Some really, really great comments. We have about 30 seconds left. Who is, oh yeah, baby? Is that Davis?
Yes.
That's cute. All right, 10 more seconds to post how you feel like the activity we just did relates to building relationships with students. All right, there's the time. All right, so, and we will get this back to you guys. So if y'all ever want to go back to this Nearpod and look at what we did or whatever, we'll get that to you. Okay, so let's jump in. Get ready to read. I know. I will tell you, I trimmed this down drastically. I took out a lot of stuff. If you want to read the whole article, again, we'll give that to you later today. But I trimmed this down a lot. As you're reading it, think about what do you think this teacher learned at the parents' night. So what you're going to do is you'll click on the image, and you should be able to draw. I wish I could show you. Actually, I'm going to have Miss Austin kind of show you how to do it. So Austin, if you will share your screen with the Nearpod so they can see how you can draw and stuff. So if you want to underline, highlight, anything that stands out to you, kind of annotate on this for the next 5 minutes as we do it. Austin's going to show you how to use this Draw It if you've never used the Draw It section in Nearpod. So go ahead.
Unmute myself. All right. So as you're reading and anything that it says read the following article, annotate as you read. So anything that stands out to you and you want to underline, you want to highlight these. If you, I don't know if that works for you, but it is the icon itself explains what it does. This is the pen. You can change the color by clicking on it. You can determine how thick you want it or thin. So while you're reading, you can go ahead and determine what you want, the color. I decided to use my red, and this is what it does. You use your finger if it's touch screen or your mouse or whatever it is that you want to do, and you can go ahead and circle whatever mistake you've happened to make. You can make that correction. You can use a highlighter, however thick you want it. So once you click on it, you're able to make it whatever color and begin to highlight. So all that is available to you. Now, let's say you want to type something. The T here gives you that opportunity. So as soon as you click it, a text box appears and you can select the color. Now, usually when it's black, the article is already in black. I usually select a different color so it stands out. Again, how do you want, how big or small you want the text to be? And you can move this around. So I can type something here. So click back on the T to remove that, and I can move this around, make it as small as I want, and type what I want right here.
All right, thank you, Miss Austin. We're going to do 5 minutes for you to read and annotate as you go.
You can go back to sharing your screen.
Almost half the time is up. You have about another minute left to kind of gather your thoughts. Okay, about 20 seconds left. When you're done, go ahead and hit the button that says submit. Time is up, so if you will hit submit, and we're going to go on to the next thing. So submit in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so we often see students as a set of academic skills. However, academic skills are only the iceberg tip of who a student really is. Below the surface is everything else. Personal context, motivation, engagement, executive function skills, even home life, all that kind of stuff goes into who our students are. And students are so much more than school. So right now, and if y'all see my screen, you can see that I can approve student comments before they are posted. So I as the teacher can make sure that, like, if I want to hide all posts until I see every student submit to make sure they're not copying each other, I can do that. For this, I'm not going to do that. But if you will describe a time you learned what was below the surface for a specific student, how did it impact your relationship, and how did it influence the way you taught this student? So 4 minutes for this part. We have about 2 minutes left. Okay, 10 seconds if you will go ahead and post what you have. All right, time is up. If you will post what you have. Got Lambert. Student was working to support whole family. Home situation was volatile. Added more emotional learning lessons to bell ringers and opening. Awesome. I had a student was rude, angry most of the time. I had conference with the grandmother. Mother was in jail, and the whole situation made the student angry. It seems that when I begin using the student's first language during instruction, it makes them respect my subject even more. Plus, it shows English-speaking students how talented you have to be in the workplace. Awesome. Cool.
But
Yes, sir.
This best. I had to go in and shorten mine. So
Okay.
mine's sort of halfway through.
That's okay.
I couldn't fit it all because it said, I mean, there was, once you pass the limit, that's was the number of words.
Right.
To post it.
Yeah. So, really cool stories though. This is awesome, guys. All right. So for time's sake, we're going to end the Nearpod. I'm going to go show you what else is in here, and y'all can look kind of at your own time. But there's a sway that's got a bunch of different like activities you can do with your students, like communication profile. How do they like to be communicated with? Similarities and different. It's just a lot of engaging tools you can use throughout. This probably would be really cool to do with your flex group. So it's just different things that you guys can do with your kids to kind of build relationships and get to know them better. Like I said, you probably do this more with your flex students at this point, but some interesting activities. Let's skip. All right, so we're gonna finish with the Nearpod, so y'all can close that out. And then I'm gonna go to the rest of the PowerPoint. So another thing that we talked about is a tracking tool. We talked about this the past few years here at Tri-Cities. If you are a new teacher, you heard about it when we did the pre-planning and that kind of thing. So all a tracking tool is, it's literally having your roster, and I even do this as an instructional coach. So I have all my teachers, I have their class periods and everything, and what I do is I put like the dates that I talked to them, the dates that I went and observed their classrooms and gave feedback and all that kind of stuff. And it helps me as a coach keep track of who I've talked to so I don't miss anybody. And so a tracking tool, and there's directions in here. I'm not going to go through how to print it off because we've done that before, but if you need it, the directions are in the PowerPoint. But basically you just create a blank spreadsheet of your roster. So it's your roster printed out and it's got empty columns, or you can name them. And all you do is go through and you just put a tally next to the kids. So as you're cold calling, as you're doing like a Nearpod and stuff, students who aren't engaged, put that next to it. Say student did not talk at all this entire class period, even though I called on them in that. And if you don't get to everybody in that class period, that's fine. Keep track of it for the next day and make sure that you, at some point that week, you try to get to every single one of your students. So it's just a great way to keep track of who you've talked to, who's engaged, who's is not. So this is what it looks like. And like I said, you can put questions that you are going to ask and see how they're doing. You can use this face-to-face and virtually. You just print it out and keep track of who you've talked to and who you haven't, so that you kind of get to every student. Next thing is sharing screen with students. This is something that we've still had some teachers question on how to do. All you do is click on show participants. So as you're in your session with your students, click on show participants. Find the student you want to share the screen. So I'm going to have Mr. Kumlavi do it. Click on the 3 dots, make a presenter, change, and now he's a presenter in this session. So he can share his screen with everybody. And then I don't want him to have that power anymore. All I do is click on the 3 dots, and then I just make him an attendee. And so he no longer can share a screen. And so after the student shares their screen, I would take that power away because you don't want them putting up something inappropriate. Not all kids will do it, but every now and then you might have that one. So given the power, take it away. Another thing is using streams for class recording. So it is requested by admin that you have your recordings posted for your students. And I'm going to show you somebody who I'll give you an example of what this looks like. And I have the steps in Teams and in this presentation. But Ms. Brown has it all done and she's already got videos added to it. So class recordings, it just is a tab at the top. And then those students can see all of those class recordings for that so far. So you can do like class recordings for 1A, you could do 1A unit 1 and have a different tab for every unit so that students could go back and easily find it. It's however you want to make it, but it's giving that spot for your kids to go back and review those lessons later on down the road. So this is what it's going to look like at the end. And like I said, in the presentation, we have steps on how to do it and how to get there. And if you have questions, feel free to ask us. The entire Vanguard team is here to help you, but there are steps here. So I have step-by-step directions, circled everything that you need to know how to do. You are going to have to set this up for all of your classes, but once you set it up, it gets a lot easier from there. So you only have to set it up once and then just add the videos as you do them. So it goes really well. One other thing I wanted to share with you guys is this Teams update on assignments. I do ask that you go back and look at this. Some of you guys are having issues with your kids can't see the assignment. You want to change certain settings. So there is a new thing that Microsoft came out with the assignments. So if y'all would go and watch this video, it'll walk you through the new features that they have. Another thing, and I saw this yesterday, and I don't know if I saw this today. I don't, but the breakout room is coming very, very soon. It actually showed up in my Teams yesterday. So it was there and now it's gone. So just know that that feature, it's really cool. I played with it yesterday. So you click on create breakout rooms, and then you can select how many rooms you want to do. And actually it'll either automatically assign the kids to the groups, or you can go in and assign, but it'll give you as many groups as you want. So you don't have to do the channels. You don't have to do that other stuff. It does it all for you. So it is a really, really cool feature, and it is coming out hopefully within the next week or two, because like I said, I saw it yesterday and now it's gone, so it looks like they're still tinkering with it, but it looks like it's coming up real soon. And so our last thing is just a quick Kahoot that Ms. Austin is going to have to share with you guys. And so do the Kahoot. Again, if you have any questions, remember it's in the front part of the September 4 PD. If y'all could put in the chat, you know, was this, should have made a survey. We didn't. We'll do that for the next group. But just kind of want to know, was this helpful? Did you learn something? You know, what are your takeaways from this? We do want to know how this PD was. This is our first time doing one of these virtually. We're not used to that. So we do want your feedback. We respect your feedback. We respect your time. We want to make sure that it's, you know, we're not just sitting here wasting your time. So if, while Ms. Austin is pulling up the Kahoot, if y'all will put in the chat your takeaways from today, what your thoughts were, if there's anything we can do to improve these, and then do the Kahoot that Ms. Austin's going to share with you.
So because of time, we're not going to do the Kahoot. I was trying to signal to you, Ms. Vice. What we do want you guys to do is to, I know Ms. Vice gave you a Padlet that you can add certain questions as well as within the chat. But overall, our sense of what we presented to you covered just engaging students. And like we said earlier, we know this is not a space where you can really check to see how students are engaged through their facial expressions and so on, because they're not turning on their screen. But we felt that as we are observing class, that these are really good ways to make sure that students understand we're checking in. You have to respond to these different activities through Nearpod, through Poly, whatever it is. As we are teaching you, there's not just a time where you just relax and you know what you're doing. So we really do hope that as we're wrapping up, this was useful to you. Again, the PowerPoint is there for you to go ahead and watch those videos as to how to engage students, use a tracking tool to really push some of the accountability on the students. So if Dr. Sims or Ms. Bice has nothing else, we want to say thank you for participating in this PD. Hopefully this really was helpful for you to really get your students to account for the fact that you are ready for them to learn and they need to be ready to accept the information that you have to give them. And here are some strategies that you can use to really implement and embed that in your lesson. And one main thing, if nothing else from this, is try to chunk your lesson as you present to students. And I'll end with that. If anyone else has anything.
I'm going to answer a couple questions. So Lambert, I wouldn't say it's different. It's just a lot of these tools kind of do the same thing. Because like we did GoFormative a lot last year, and GoFormative to me and Nearpod are kind of similar, and that you can kind of do some of the same things, but they're just in a different format. Class Notebook, you can do the same thing. You can embed an article and that kind of thing. It just kind of puts it all into one platform. So it really is kind of what you like. It's just what you prefer. If you get bored doing Class Notebook and you're like, you know what, I want to do something different, try Nearpod. You get bored with that, try GoFormative. Try, you know, this whole thing is new, and you know, we're getting more and more experience with technology, but I think sometimes you kind of get a little stagnant doing the same thing over and over again. So it's fine to try something else and try something new. So that's kind of it. And then Rashid.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And then Rashid, I think you should be, if I remember correctly, you should be able to click on the text box and there should be a trash can to delete it. Is that what you're talking about? Like when you're typing something in? Ms. Rashid, are you there? Okay. All right. Well, you guys have a fantastic day. We got you out about 10
Miss
minutes.
Bites.
Yes, sir.
I have quick questions, just quick. If I assign assignment in Microsoft Team,
Mhm.
is that a way I can cancel the assignment after I already assigned it?
Oh, now
Yes.
it's unmuted. Okay, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'll get to you in a second. That is what you said. Okay, cool. Yes, you should be able to. Let me go. I have one created somewhere. Where's my practice group? So here's my assignments. You'll just click on the assignment you don't want anymore and then edit assignment. And then you can delete it from there.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Vice, I do have a concern. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, not a concern, maybe more of a comment. Can you go back to the assignment screen real quick in Teams?
Uh-huh.
All right, so on the left-hand column where it says Teams, can you click on assignments? Where it says assignments, yeah. So this feature right here is so amazing for me because of course I'm popping in and out of a lot of CTAE classes.
Mhm.
So my students, I had to tell them if this is like their built-in agenda. So they can click on assignments and every last one of their classes, if teachers are putting assignments under assignments, they can click on their class and they can actually see what assignments that they have due, what assignments are coming up. But if teachers are not putting assignments in here for them to know what's due or what's coming up, they're not going to have this, you know, as an agenda. So can we maybe sort of, you know, I don't know, ask teachers to put assignments in here? Because I know teachers have assignments maybe in files, maybe in notebook, but if they actually just type up what the assignment is in assignments, then the kids can have this as like their agenda. And it's documentation for teachers too, to show that you knew what the assignment is and when it was.
Right. Where is it? There's so many documents. I'm like, where did we put this? Okay, PD schedule for fall. I want to say that we have that coming up, but I don't remember.
Oh, okay, perfect. One, you know.
And if we don't, that is definitely something that we need to take care of. We are going to talk about class notebook, the next PD. No, not that.
What Davis is saying is so true, and it's also helpful for parents. I encourage parents and students to go there together, and the parent can look at it. They can also see when their students how late their students have turned stuff in, or if students say they don't know they have things, but you can see that they viewed it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really great accountability. And if you set an assignment, the cool thing about Class Notebook is you can just send it to Class Notebook. So instead of setting something in Class Notebook, you can create the assignment and then it drops in the Class Notebook for the student already.
Yeah, I love that feature. We will go through our PD schedule for the rest of the semester and see when we can fit that in, because I agree. I do think a lot of teachers are using it, but I don't think everybody is using it. And actually, I just realized everybody has a PD September 18th. I will get with those people who are presenting at it and see if that's something that we can bring up at that PD. And I'll bring it up in the next couple sessions, but yeah, I agree. Y'all are right. So I'll try to see if we can squeeze in like a training on assignments to make sure that everybody knows how to do it and everybody is actually doing it. So cool.
Thanks.
Cool. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, we got you out 10 minutes early. Hopefully y'all got something out of today, and enjoy your Friday and your 3-day weekend. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.